So music-wise and guitarists, I mean, I can see a guitar there, and I can see
Oh
some
yeah,
Marshalls there, and you're clearly a guitar player.
I
So,
do.
so what guitarist do you like?
Well, it's kind of a strange journey because when I was younger, I didn't even know anything about guitar. Like whenever I heard a guitar through a record, I was like, oh, what's this instrument? I wasn't even thinking about the possibility that electric guitar existed back in the day. Also because my family isn't very music oriented, you know, so it's something which I built by myself. It's my own experience. But when I was super young, I started like with Linkin Park. Pretty much, I guess a lot of young people nowadays
Yep.
have gone through that phase, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I even if I enjoyed a lot listening to them, as soon as I started even playing guitar, I didn't like the style of playing that sort of music, like the drop D tuning and the power chords. That wasn't funny at all for me. Like
Yeah.
I liked more being more like melodic with the guitar.
Yeah.
And so another like kind of obvious thing, I went crazy for the Red Hot Chili Peppers soon
Wow.
after.
Yeah.
And with John Frusciante in particular,
He's
which is,
he's such a great guitarist, isn't he?
I think so, is even like underrated in my opinion,
I
because
agree.
I mean, even if he doesn't shred all the time and do crazy things, he clearly is able to, but it's like his choice to not do or to do like uh, more difficult things technically, I
Mm.
mean. And so that's what I love about him. It's like he's playing, but for the sake of the whole song. It's not something oriented for just showing himself off, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And
And
if I may, the thing that I particularly like about John is his tone is clean.
yeah,
It's super clean, isn't it?
uh, well, he still uses Marshall amplifiers. He definitely doesn't use an overdriven sound, but it's something on the edge of the breakup. So it's something where the dynamics of your right hand really matter a lot. Like if you dig harder, you can get crunchy tones, but if you play softer, you can definitely be very clean. So it's something which I immediately fell in love with because the dynamics in playing is something which I appreciate like a
Mm.
lot.
Yeah, me too.
And also because electronically, even if you like roll back the volume on your guitar, you're still creating some sort of impedance mismatching. You're still losing some of the tone of the guitar. So I'm always like, I don't want to roll back the volume on the guitar. I don't want to roll the tone back. I don't want to touch any of the guitar controls.
I'm
I
exactly the
just want,
same.
yeah, I mean, I just want to be able to dynamically change the tone, but with just my right hand.
Mm. Yeah, I'm
So
exactly the same. Very often, my volume control and the tone is pretty much open on my guitar because I want all those frequencies coming through, and I very rarely change the tone
yeah,
on my guitar. It's all done with my volume, really.
yeah. It's the same for me, basically.
But sorry, I interrupted. So you
Oh
were
yeah,
talking about other guitarists, and
yeah.
you mentioned some of the guitarists that you like.
Uh, yeah, pretty much from that point going on, I kind of grew up, and at that point, I started listening pretty much to anything. Like even if one particular song passed by the radio and was catchy for my ears, I started listening to it and being into it. So, I mean, I kind of went to thinking that you don't need to limit yourself as a guitar player just to listen to Hendrix, Zappa, Mayer, Gilmour, and so on. You can get influenced even by, I don't know, rap music. I mean, in terms of timing intervals or even simple melodies that you can bring unconsciously onto a guitar, even without thinking about it. Because if you are open to listening to anything, anything can influence you. And for sure, you will unconsciously bring that experience which you made with your ears onto your fretboard. Even if you were playing a different instrument, I truly believe that any type of music, even synthesizers, anything, can give you some experience that which you can translate on the guitar. Because if you were limiting yourself to just listening those great guitar players, I mean, I don't dislike them. I enjoy them all pretty much. But you would be kind of limited to playing the same sort of shapes on the guitar. You would be stuck into that. And as soon as I realized I was kind of stuck, I started thinking, I need to go away from this. I need to experience different things. And nowadays, I even listen to pop music because, I mean, every guitarist probably says, oh, it's shit. But personally, I even like the fact that in a song which guitar isn't the leading thing, I like learning how the guitar can take over some parts, because that is something really difficult to do. Because if you're not the leading instrument, you need really to put some true effort to kind of show yourself, go through the mix, invent some sort of particular melody which can really catch the ears of the listener. So it's something which I try improving myself onto, even if I'm not a super guitar player, but I mean.
Yeah, I think that's, and it's, I'm just noted down here that you mentioned that you like sort of catchy songs and things like that. And I think when you do look at those other types of music that are not necessarily sort of blazing guitar solos, it opens ideas up to melodies in particularly, and playing differently and playing with phrases rather than, you know, maybe playing without bends and just purely just sticking to melodies and things like that, and keeping the phrasing and focusing on that type of thing really. And it does open us up to opportunities as a guitar player, and being more creative. And it makes you think, doesn't it? When then you have to, like, well, you know, you're stepping outside of your usual sort of playing routine and playing differently. Yeah, then I have to start to, you know, think a lot more.
Yeah.
And challenge yourself, which is important.
Yeah, but I think that every sort of musician needs to listen to a lot of music, because if you're just stuck with some artists, you're probably always going to experience at some point of your life the issue of, okay, what do I play now? I hear a lot of guitarists which say, yeah, I have like 100 pedals, but I just play the same song over and over again, and whenever I plug my guitar in. Instead, whenever I feel that I'm stuck, I feel bad somehow. So I just need to escape from that. Even if I create something which isn't musical, isn't something really good, but at least I am aware of being creative. I mean, creativity at some point will always bring something new, something different. And even if you fail a lot of times, maybe one of those times you're doing a good thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so where are you based, and when did you start building guitar effects?
Okay, I am based in South Italy, pretty much near Naples, where pizza was originally born.
Right.
And near Pompeii, where Pink Floyd came to record their album.
That's right, yeah.
And well, the history of why I started and when. It's kind of long, but yeah, let me start from back in the day. So when I was younger, between 14 and 8, up until 18 years old, I was kind of left alone and facing one of the worst periods of my life. Even if now I'm saying that with happiness, it's been really a bad time for me. Like, all of my friends were suddenly gone for some reason or another. My family was having financial issues, and my grandfather was fighting hopelessly against cancer. So everything felt meaningless at that point. But as soon as I randomly heard one of the Pepper songs by the radio, I perceived a strange sense of relief. And at that point, I started searching for them. I started listening to all of their songs, their albums. And when I got into the song called Snow, I was shocked about that hypnotic riff. And as I was telling you before, I wasn't almost even able to tell that the main instrument was a guitar through that song. So that experience made me decide that I wanted to play guitar, first of all. And so as soon as I had the opportunity, I went to search for a summer job that made it possible for me to buy my first Squire Stratocaster, which is still with me, and it's the one which you're seeing here.
Yeah.
I use that for testing pedals instead of the American one. And as you may understand, in order to play John's songs, I started realizing that I needed amplifiers and a lot of pedals, because his rig is full of pedals and has got those Marshall amplifiers, Silver Jubilee and Marshall Major. So I couldn't afford any of that. And that's pretty much when I decided I could try building stuff by myself. At first, I had horrible experiences. Like, I was buying components, building pedals, but nothing that I built was working at all. Like, not even passing signal through. I wasn't aware of anything I was doing, pretty much. I was just following online forums, websites. I was still at high school, so I was really, really young when I tried doing this. So it's kind of normal thing to fail at that age, I guess.
But if I may, to make that decision, to have a go yourself, were you always sort of naturally practical or electrically minded, or?
I have always been open-minded, pretty much. So I feel like I can learn doing whatever I want. It's just a matter of time and matter of how much energy you want to put into that. So even if tomorrow I wanted to learn how to, I don't know, build a car, how to save people in the sea, like, I don't know what's called, Baywatch, that telefilm. You can do anything. It's just how hard it is for you. But if you want to do something, it can take years if you're not like naturally going to that path, you know. Some of us are better at some things and some of us don't, so it's fine. But I think that any of us with, like, even, internet, it has been the thing which made this possible, because back in the day when internet wasn't a thing, even if you was the most open-minded guy of the world, it would have been very difficult to learn something which you didn't have access to notions and information. But nowadays it's really up to you. You can learn doing whatever you want. I feel like that pretty much.
I agree. And often what supports the success is passion, isn't it? If you've got a passion to do something, you really want to do it, you'll do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, like let me tell you this short story before continuing. Like when I was doing my first really hard project, you won't believe me, but I had university classes through the day. So it was like 5 hours of university classes. I had to study after the classes. And I have been for 3.5 days without sleeping at all, because my first project, I ordered the components, the PCBs and stuff, but it wasn't working at first. And I was so passionate and I wanted to make it work somehow. I didn't care about anything. At the third day, I was like a zombie. I mean, my brain was hurting. I don't know how's that possible. I was like watching at a resistor and I saw 3 resistors at once. I mean, I wasn't in myself anymore, but I succeeded. And as soon as I succeeded, I went to bed and slept for like 15 hours or something like that. So, I mean, if you have the passion, you can do pretty much whatever, because you don't care about what's happening around you. You even forget to eat. Like I was forgetting to eat. So it's something that, I mean, if you have the passion, you can do what you want to do. While instead, if it's just a job which you apply for and you don't like it, and you're like, oh, today I have to do 8 hours to get my wage at the end of the month, and the hours don't pass and they seem like 20 hours instead of 8 hours. Instead, if it's something that you care about, I mean, I'm very lucky to do what I like and to kind of live with it. It's not super easy because the pedal business is a tough business, honestly. And especially being here in Italy, where you kind of can't compete with other builders like in the United States or even the Chinese kind of brands which are low cost. I mean, in the US, there are a lot of companies which like drill your enclosures, powder coat your enclosures, print on them, and they do everything in one place. If I want to get that, first of all, I need to pay for a super expensive shipping from overseas, because in Italy, no one does that, and not even in Europe, actually. And then I need to pay for import fees for the customs duties. And I'm already out of the game, pretty much. I need to raise my prices comparing to other builders. But I mean, if your product is valuable, if there is people who care about your product because it's something special, I guess you can still compete somehow if there's no one else doing it, you know?